Humphreys Peak is located just north of Flagstaff, Arizona, and is the tallest point in the state, with an elevation of 12,633 feet, or 3,851 meters for my homies on the metric system. Throughout the rest of today's video, we are going to be driving as far as we can to the top, and I'm going to be showing you guys a truly remarkable display of nature along the way. This is something in nature that always seems like it's gone as soon as it gets here. This area right here is the San Francisco Peaks, and it is the mountain range that Humphreys Peak is a part of. We will be starting our journey right here on Snowball Road and making our way up the mountain from there. If there was ever a good time to drive up to Humphreys Peak, it's definitely during the fall. With the leaves changing colors and temperatures slowly on the decline, there's just something about this drive during the fall season that hits just right. And if you live in the Phoenix area, like I do, any time is always a good time to come up here. Unless, of course, it's during a thunderstorm, then it's not so appealing. But other than that, it's always an enjoyable drive. Living in the valley has its ups and downs all year round, but this year has been one for the record books, and it's what inspired me to make this video. According to abc15.com/weather, published September 17th, 2024, Phoenix hit 100 degrees or hotter for 113 days in a row, shattering the previous record from August of 1993 when they hit triple-digit temps for 76 consecutive days. We asked Sarah Connor what her thoughts on the extreme heat were, and this was her reaction.
Anybody not wearing 2 million sunblock is gonna have a real bad day, get it?
Okay, moving on. The drive up Snowball Road starts off fairly smooth, but after a few minutes, it does get a little bumpy. Not necessarily to the degree of potholes in the Midwest kind of bumpy, but it's something to be aware of. Any vehicle can make it up this road, and it is paved, so that's a plus. You may also see a cyclist or two coming up or down the road, and if you do, please exercise caution. There's almost no shoulder room for cyclists, and if you look at the edge of the road, you'll notice it goes from pavement directly to loose dirt. And I'm sure the last thing Lance Armstrong here wants is to catch some loose dirt and get pulled into the ditch. There's definitely no shortage of trees up in these parts, and this mountain range is home to a variety of different trees, ranging from ponderosa pines, Engelmann spruce, and the beloved quaking aspen. After a few miles of weaving through this mountain road, we are now approaching one of the most unbelievable places in Arizona. The footage that you are seeing now was captured on October 15th, and it was filmed on a Nikon Z30. This is one of the top places in Arizona to catch a glimpse of some fall foliage. Now, I was really hoping the aspens were going to be a bit more yellow, but this year in Arizona we had a longer warm season, which can delay peak fall foliage periods. According to weather.com, aspen trees can live to well over 100 years, and their root systems can survive much longer, usually between 5,000 and 10,000 years. Now, the oldest aspen colony in the world is an astonishing 80,000 years old and is located in Utah's Bryce Canyon National Park. Another fun fact I recently learned was every tree in an aspen grove is often connected to a single root system. According to fws.gov, they spread through underground roots with new trunks growing up from the roots, so every tree in a stand may have the same genetics. Because of this, aspen groves are often referred to as clones. Now, this particular footage that you're seeing right now was also captured on my Nikon Z30, but this was filmed almost exactly 1 year ago. Colors on that trip were definitely more on the vibrant side. The Arizona Snowbowl, which we are currently on our way up to, opened in 1938 and is one of the oldest continually run ski areas in the United States, and I'll expand more on its history once we get to the top. According to livingnewdeal.org, between the years of 1939 and 1940, an assistant supervisor of the Coconino National Forest directed a work crew to build the 9 miles of cinder surface road, starting from the turnoff on Highway 180 all the way to the Snowball ski area. In 1979, the Forest Service had given approval for a paved road along with many new additions. For winter activities, the Snowball usually opens in early December and remains open until mid-April. However, you can always drive up here year-round if you're looking to do some hiking, take a scenic drive, catch those fall colors, or even escape your wife for a couple hours because you had a disagreement on which color paint would be good for the dining room. They even offer a scenic gondola ride during the fall, which I have yet to do, but I've only heard amazing things about it. I think it would be a pretty fun experience, and if I can book a ride before the end of the season, I might even include that footage in a later video. Fingers crossed. Now, I was on a little bit of a time crunch when it came to getting this content for the video, which means I didn't have enough time to make it over to the lodge and restaurant. But if I can make it back for that gondola ride, you best bet I'll be making a pit stop there. I'm never one to shy away from a good burger and beer. It goes without saying that the mountain does offer some fine skiing and snowboarding experiences throughout the winter season, and I'll put a link to the Arizona Snowbowl website down in the description in case anyone watching wants to take a closer look at what they have to offer. According to livingnewdeal.org, in the winter of 1938, the 20 to 30 Club, a Flagstaff service group, held a snow carnival on the southwest slope of Mount Agassiz, one of the many peaks on the mountain. It was so successful that the group ran a contest to choose a new name for the area, and Arizona Snowbowl was selected. Upon further research, I found out that the original ski lodge was built in 1941, but sadly it burned down 11 years later. This photo is from ArizonaHighways.com, and at the time it was believed that arson was the original cause of the fire, but historians now believe a burning log rolling out of the fireplace was more likely. Here's another photo I found from ArizonaDailySun.com. Here's some more old photos that I was able to find online. These were from the website azcentral.com photo gallery, and I'll post that link in the description in case you want to see more photos. I instantly got a kick out of this photo right here because it reminded me of those old Susie Chapstick commercials from the late 1970s.
Call me Susie Chapstick.
Hey, Susie Chapstick.
Ah, the 70s. What a time to be alive. If you're watching this video and thinking to yourself, gee, I would sure like to drive up to Flagstaff and catch a glimpse of those golden aspens, I think I'm going to plan a trip. Well, I'm here to tell you, don't plan a trip, just go, and preferably during the week. You can go there on the weekends, but if you do, I guarantee you it's going to be overrun by girls named Tiffany, Becky, and Jen, and they're probably going to be drinking pumpkin spice lattes, wearing cardigans, Ugg boots, and cheap straw hats from Goodwill. Ah, the cliche is so real. Also, once it really starts to cool off, those leaves are going to be dropping like crazy, and in no time it will go from this to this. Public service announcement. Do not carve your friggin' initials into the trees. It's stupid, harmful to the trees, and no one really cares about your trip that you made here back in 2007 with your boo. Look, I get it. You think it's cute because you saw some Hollywood actor do it in an early 2000s rom-com. But you know what? You're not Ryan Reynolds or Anne Hathaway. Cut the shit. Also, I would be willing to bet big money that the majority of these couples either broke up or got divorced because of adultery. Now, as glamorous as the San Francisco peaks might be, starting off with their visually stunning appearance that can be seen for many miles, to the multitude of outdoor recreational activities that it provides, it's certainly faced its fair share of scrutiny over the years. More than a dozen Native American tribes in the region have been opposing the Snowball since its inception in the late 1930s. These mountains are considered sacred due to their cultural, spiritual, ceremonial, and ancestral significance. The Forest Service and Native American tribes have been butting heads over the use of the San Francisco peaks for a very long time, and in recent years there's been a dispute over using reclaimed water from Flagstaff's sewage system for snowmaking. This was first approved by the Forest Service back in 2005 as part of a resort expansion, and it was the first resort in the country to use reclaimed water for making snow. This information is also available from theguardian.com, and I'll link it down in the description. Now, that article further states that snowfall on the San Francisco peaks is highly erratic, and before using reclaimed water to make snow, the Snowball struggled to stay afloat. Snowball executives insist that it is not a sustainable business without using reclaimed water, but local tribes say it's contaminating the sacred ground. Now, I'm not saying either side is 100% wrong or 100% right, but it's something worth shedding a little light on, especially with more potential plans in the future to add new attractions, chairlifts, and renovations. I fully enjoy every aspect of being outside, especially when it comes to hiking, mountain biking, gazing at the wonderful views that Mother Nature has crafted, and exploring the mountains. But I think eventually there comes a point where you have to ask yourself, are we doing too much? It's one thing to build a road that takes you up a mountain to a few cabins and hiking trails in a remote area, but once you start building resorts, coffee shops, putting in Wi-Fi, and bringing in the presence of social media, it kind of spoils the experience of being away from the city and prevents you from fully being immersed in nature. And as the Counting Crows once said, they paved paradise and put up a parking lot. Feel free to share your thoughts on this with me down in the comments section below. And if you want to see more of my previous adventures, just click on that playlist in the upper left-hand corner and keep the adventures going.